Welcome to Cinemophile, where we bring you the best in independent, documentary, and foreign films, and we talk to the people who made them. I'm your host, Mike Caspar, and you can find out more about the program by going to cinemophilepod.com. From their historic recovery in 1995 to today's thriving wolf packs, Yellowstone Wolf Project biologists share inspiring stories about the wolves they study in the park. Using bioacoustic technology, researchers are uncovering how wolves communicate, applying their findings to resolve livestock-wildlife conflicts and protect these majestic creatures. The film is called Wonders of the Wolf, and it was filmed in Yellowstone National Park, primarily in Lamar Valley, and it features the park's famed wolf Matriarch 907F. Joining us today on the program is the director of Wonders of the Wolf, and that would be Angie Ruiz. Angie, welcome to Cinemophile.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. As someone who has a connection to all kinds of animals. I mean, I think it's such a visceral, such a primal connection that we have with animals. We are an animal.
Yeah.
This is a film that really explores that connection and why it lands with us when we see animals in distress or animals thriving, how we react to those. I know you have a personal connection to this film, but tell me a little bit about what inspired you to make Wonders of the Wolf.
It actually started with my youngest daughter when she was a toddler. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I sometimes feel she has some sort of ancestral connection that because when she was little, she just really loved wolves. And we have a dog and a cat, so she knew the difference between what a dog is and a wolf is. She collected books, and whenever we'd go into a store, there's these little figures. There's a store in LA, has all these figurines of every single animal you can imagine, like elephants, tigers. But she would always go to the wolf section, and that's always what she wanted for her birthday. She would say, "Can I have the gray wolf this time?" And it would be something, special that I would either get her for her birthday or maybe put in her Christmas stocking. And now she has like 20 of them. But she had some sort of connection to them really young, to the point where she grew older. All her teachers would tell me, "Oh my gosh, she just did another report on wolves." She explained to the class, what a wolf pack is, how there's the different, the mother, the father, and all the ants, and they all work together to survive. And she's like, she's such a, how does she have this connection? And I seriously, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, let's fast forward to 2020 when we had the pandemic, and I had all of this time, and she asked me to do a documentary on wolves. And this is my third film, and the previous two films have also been canid centric, but our domestic dog or the characters. I was like, okay, yeah, great. I'd love to tell me everything you know about them, and maybe you can tell me what you love to watch. And so she pointed me to many documentaries, wolves in Alaska, wolves in other parts of the world. But I came across a film that kind of focused on the Yellowstone Wolf Project, which I had no idea they had been reintroduced there. I had never been to Yellowstone National Park. So I focused on the story that I knew about the Yellowstone Wolf Project being developed, how it came about because of the Endangered Species Act in 1973, and there was a plan put in place. And the reason why a plan was put in place is because they had been eradicated. They'd been killed off in the 1930s. Yellowstone was established in 1872. And at that time, we had a lot of ranchers, settlers coming in, European settlers, and they wanted to rid the land of all carnivores, basically. So that was bears included, and also mountain lions. But the wolves were, for whatever reason, they really focused on, and they got rid of them. So I didn't know that story, and I found that really fascinating. I was just actually quite shocked that the land was ridden of all the carnivores. So I thought, okay, this is really interesting. I will focus on this. And I began to do a bunch of research, but then I had to go out there to see the wolves for myself in order to put the effort in to make this film. I needed to understand, and I wanted to see what it would feel like to see a wild wolf. I didn't know how I'd feel. This was, gosh, 2022, I think it was. I went out to Yellowstone, and first day, day one, I saw the matriarch at the time of the Junction Butte Pack, 907F. She was also the oldest wolf in Yellowstone, and she just had a litter of pups. And so she was coming down this hill. There's a nice, beautiful water source in this area where she was. It's called Slough Creek, and she walked into that and did a nice little swim, and then kind of like jumped out. And I just, the way that I felt when I saw her was something I didn't expect. It was, I think it was 5 in the morning, and I'd been watching her. I watched her till like 10, like 5 hours. I just couldn't take my eyes off her. And there was something just really magical about her. And I saw other pack members of the Junction Puke as well. I don't know how to explain it other than to say I was deeply moved. I heard them howl. That caused me to tear up, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I felt an instant connection, and maybe this is why my daughter has this connection. I'm not sure, but I felt an instant connection, and at that point, I knew I wanted to spend time making this film and doing a good job and learning as much as I can because I wanted to advocate for the wolves. And that's why I made the film, and that's what I've continued to do even outside of the film. So, yeah.
I just want to go back to a historic point that, or you were talking about the eradication of the carnivores. That was also that 1870 period up until probably the early 20s was a period of time when the buffalo were essentially eradicated from
That's
the
right.
plains, and that was, I don't want to get into the reasons why the buffalo were killed because there
Yeah,
was a specific reason why they were killed off. And but you're right, we as we settled this part of the country, we made a collective decision to do a lot of harm to the environment, and we paid a price. I
we
mean,
did.
I think the Dust Bowl of the 1930s is a direct result of what that level of killing off of the wildlife had on this country. So, but putting that aside, I think there is that connection. I think there's a visceral connection to, we're so drawn to dogs. Wolves,
That's right.
I mean, they're right there. And we do understand that they have a social order. They communicate,
Mhm.
they're protective of their tribe, of their own, all the things that we have in common with them, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful animals.
Yeah. I have to tell you, I've learned more about my dog by watching wolves than any trainer could have ever taught me anything. I understand my dog fully now. And we've always had, dogs, and I now understand the little things that they do that are so wolf-like. For example, when wolves are away from each other, their pack, when they get back to where their rendezvous site is, and they come together, it's called a rally. And it's like they're all like, they come together, they're kind of like jumping on each other, like, hey, I haven't seen you all day, hey. And then they do like a chorus howl, and it's so beautiful. And it made me think, the first time I saw that, I'm like, that's what my dog is doing. When you come home and your dog comes running over to you and wants to jump on you and just wants to be around you, and is just so excited, sometimes doing circles around you.
Yeah, yeah.
I now understand where that comes from. And it's funny because in the past, when my dog was a puppy, working with different trainers, they're like, "Oh, you got to teach your dog not to jump on you and or do things like that." And it's such a part of them. It's funny, if I come across a trainer, I always ask them, have you ever been out to Yellowstone or anywhere to see wolves? You should definitely go. I think you might understand dogs a little bit better, because I understand, having a big dog, and I have a big dog. Yes, you don't want him to jump on everybody, but these days I understand it's a communication thing. It's like hey, I'm so excited to see you, and you've been away for a little bit, and that's exactly what wolves do. Another thing is obviously the loyalty. It's just so incredible. It's been a few years now since I go back to Yellowstone regularly to watch the different packs that I've seen grow up from being a puppy, and just sort of getting to know the different members of the packs and seeing their new offspring after the spring when they have pups. I've learned so much about their loyalty. It's so inspiring to see how these wild animals cooperate to take care of each other. I mean, they take care of their elders. They work together to raise the young. Oftentimes, the mother wolf she's being taken care of. They're bringing her food back as she's nursing her pups when they're still in the den, and it's just so beautiful to see. And I often think that we humans can learn so much from them. I've learned so much, and I've actually there's times when I feel like the mother wolves have taught me patience. It's going to sound strange, but
No,
I
not at
when I
all.
watched them, the
Yeah.
way that they are with their offspring, the way that they are with the other pack members, I've actually thought about that when the times when I'm losing my patience
Yeah. Yeah.
with my kids. I honestly think of what I've observed in mother wolves, and it calms me down. And there's just a lot to learn from them. I think they're really wonderful animals, but loyalty, the fact that they take care of their elders, the fact that they cooperate to take care of each other is really wonderful to
Yeah.
watch.
And you see that in the film as well. You were talking about Matriarch 907F and her importance. What happened to her?
So 907, she actually died the way that a wolf, wolves die. She was 11, almost 11 and a half. And I can give you a quick story. She died almost the same way her father died, and that was defending her pack. She had come across a rival pack and she was outnumbered. She tried to fight them all. I think there was maybe one other wolf in her pack there, but she took on the brunt of it and didn't die right away. I think she died 3 days later from her injuries. But being an elder wolf, I mean, she was the equivalent to a 100-year-old. So the fact that she had that kind of fierce loyalty to protect other members in her pack and take on all these other wolves is pretty astounding. And to live another 3 days. But her father was a wolf called 911M. He died the same way. He came across a rival pack, and instead of running to where his family was, he stood his ground and fought those wolves, and he was ultimately killed. But the reason why he didn't run to his pack is because those wolves would have gone after his family, which is another just wonderful, loyal quality that these wolves have. So she died that way. Her two daughters, I can talk about her two daughters that I absolutely loved. And it's also, I try not to get emotional talking about this, but I still do from time to time. Sadly, her two wonderful daughters, 1479F and 1478F, were killed by men when they were wandered outside the park. They were shot and killed. One was shot illegally. The other was shot legally during the open hunting season. So that's tragic. And that's something that unfortunately the Yellowstone wolves are vulnerable to during hunting season. The second they walk out of the park, they're no longer protected. And so sometimes they get shot and killed.
If this was 1,000 years ago, I get it. Hunting, I got it. No, I don't get it now. I really
Yeah.
don't. It just
Yeah.
seems barbaric to me. It seems pointless. I mean, the idea of where they end up as trophies, there's something, and I'll say men mostly. I don't know any women that have ever gone out hunting. Maybe, I'm sure there are. I don't doubt it,
Yeah.
but anyway, well,
No, I was going to say with that, and also with trophy hunting, that was so my daughters, they love to go watch the wolves too, and they actually 1479 was very special to them and to our family because she was the wolf that we got to see. We knew that 907 had her, got to see her as a teeny puppy when she came out of the den. So we watched her grow up into this beautiful, very spunky. We called her the princess because she had this air of just, I don't know, kind of like royalty. She was so beautiful and funny and like playful and curious. And we got to watch all of these qualities. She grew up. And so when she was shot and killed, it was such a tragedy and so hurtful to our family. And it was the first time I had to explain to my young daughter what trophy. She didn't understand why somebody would kill her. And I said, oh, it's because it's hunting season. And she said, well, do people eat wolves? And I said, no, and at that point, I knew I was shattering some of her innocence. And I said, no, they do something called trophy hunting. And she said, well, what is that? And to explain that to a child
Yeah.
was incredibly difficult
Yeah.
because I didn't know how to
Yeah.
explain it. I said, well, with trophy hunting, they just want to kill the wolf to maybe mount it on their wall, or maybe, skin it for the fur, or I don't know. And I remember the look on her face. And at that point, I was so angry because
Yeah.
I knew that I shattered some innocence. I could see her trying to understand why another human would want to do that, because it's not even in her way of thinking.
Yeah.
And I know she thinks about that. And she asks sometimes if we're going somewhere, like maybe we'll go, instead of Yellowstone, we'll go to Glacier National Park. And she'll say, Mom, but are there trophy hunters there? Like she's like now very fearful of a trophy hunter. So that was really hard. And I wish I didn't have to do that because that was
Yeah.
really terrible from my point as being a mother.
No, understandable. Understandable. Well, the film just screened at the Santa Barbara International Film Festival. That's right, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And congratulations. How did that go? How was the
Thank
reaction?
you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. It was wonderful. It is such an incredible film festival. Santa Barbara, I think, has a really intellectual crowd, and they show up. For my particular screenings, they were completely, there wasn't a seat empty. And there were some people on the second screening that couldn't even make it in because there was no more seats. So that was really wonderful that so many people wanted to come out and learn more about wolves. And from that screening, I got to meet a lot of the audience members who were so excited to either go to Yellowstone and go and see wolves themselves, or they wanted to talk about wolves that they had seen, or some people had been to Yellowstone and they recognized some of the wolves in the film, and they also recognized some of the scientists in the film. So that was really fun. It was very positive and really wonderful.
And in terms of people want to find out more about not only Wonders of the Wolf, but also more about you and your work. And this is, I think, your third or fourth film that you've made.
Yeah, my third film.
And so you continue to be a wonderful filmmaker. I mean, it's a beautiful film to look at as well, on top of everything else. Great story. Say great in quotes. I mean, it's a story that we all should know. How's that is a better way to put it. In terms of just your ability to really get us inside their world, and wonderfully done. Congratulations on it.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Okay, well, again, the film is called Wonders of the Wolf. And how can people get a hold of you if they want to?
There's the website wondersofthewolf.com, which is updated with screenings, and then my website as well, angieruiz.com. It's the same. It'll have some of my other films, but also a lot of updates with Wonders of the Wolf. And Wonders of the Wolf will be streaming probably this summer. So I still have a couple of theatrical screenings that we're doing, but I think this summer is when we'll release it online, so
Okay.
everyone can see it.
And you're on Facebook and Instagram under Wonders of the
Instagram,
Wolf.
yes.
Yeah.
Instagram, Wonders of the Wolf, and then Facebook, Wonders of the Wolf. We have more engagement on the Instagram, but yeah, those are the two social media handles that I have. So yeah.
Well, congratulations on the film,
Thank
Wonders of the
you.
Wolf. Yeah. Again, we've been speaking with the director and a producer, I believe, as well as,
Yes. Mhm.
and that would be Angie Ruiz. Angie, thank you so very much for spending some time with us on Cinemaphile.
Oh, thank you so much, Mike. Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet you.
You have been listening to Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar, the place where you will hear from the best in independent documentary and foreign filmmakers. Please check out our previous interviews as well as upcoming interviews and special programming by going to cinemaphilepod.com. We are also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, searchable under Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar. Until next time, thank you for listening.